A great way to learn in Route is to design and cut your first project by engraving your name and cutting it out. So in this introduction video, I'm going to walk through that example from start to finish. To start, I need to create a new drawing and define my plate size. I know I have a piece of material that is 24 inches by 18 inches that is 3/4 of an inch thick, so that's how I'm going to define my plate size. I'm also going to set the surface at the top of the plate because I know I'm going to engrave in this project. The first thing I need to do is add some text. So I'm going to activate the text tool, and I'm going to use the name Lizzie for this project. And then I need to convert the text to curves so I can create offsets from it. With the text selected, from the toolbar, I'm going to select the Offset tool. I'm going to create an exterior offset of 3/4 of an inch so I can cut the letters out. I'm going to apply an internal offset of 0.2 inches for the engrave. I also want to add a star to the design to make the border more interesting, which I can do using the Polygon tool. I want the star to be slightly larger than the default star, so I'm going to increase the outer radius to 7 inches. Which, as you can see, it distorts the star slightly, so I need to reselect from the standard pattern menu the 5-2 star, which gives me that classic star design I want. And I can roughly place it in the workspace by left-clicking. Now I can select the star and use the arrow keys to roughly position it where I want. And then I can zoom in using the mouse wheel and hold the Shift key and use the arrow keys to fine-tune the placement. Once I have it where I want, I can use the Zoom Plate button to zoom back to my original view. To be able to cut this out, the star and the exterior offset from the letters need to be a single contour. So I'm going to select both and use the Weld Join tool to combine them into a single contour. Now that I have the contours and the lettering the way I want them, I need to recenter the design on the plate. So I'm going to select everything and hold the Control key and press the number 5 key on the number pad to center the design in the plate. And now I'm ready to apply toolpaths. I'm going to start by applying the engrave to the letters by selecting the letters and activating the engrave toolpath strategy. I'm going to use a 0.03 inch engrave tool at a depth of 1/2 inch. I also need to set the feeds and speeds for this cut. So I'm going to come in here and set this to 150 inches per minute, the plunge rate to 50 inches per minute, and the spindle speed to 18,000 RPM. I'm also going to check the 3D Engrave toolpath option is set because I want this to be a 3D Engrave toolpath. When I hit OK, I can see that the toolpath has been applied to the letters. Next, I need to cut out the design by applying a routing offset to the exterior contour by first selecting the contour and then opening the routing offset strategy. I'm going to use a 1/4 inch end mill at a depth of 3/4 of an inch, which is the thickness of my material. I also need to set the feeds and speeds here. I'm going to set the feed rate to 240 inches per minute, the plunge rate to 50 inches per minute, and the spindle speed to 18,000 RPM. When I hit OK, I can see that an external routing offset has been applied to the contour. With the toolpaths applied, I'm almost ready to generate the output files, but first I want to simulate the toolpaths using the 3D simulation tool to make sure they have the desired effect. I'm going to accept the default options and simulate my output. I can zoom and look around the workspace and see that my routing offset is cutting all the way through the plate and that the engrave is creating the effect I want. Now that I'm happy with the toolpaths, I'm ready to generate the output files. For this design, I'm going to stick with the default priority order, which sets the tool order at the highest priority. I can double check the tool order and make sure that the engrave tool is coming first. That way the letters are engraved before they're cut out. I also need to set my machine driver. Today I'm using a multicam machine which has a tool changer. So I need to double check that I have the tools loaded in the correct positions. As you can see, I have the 1/4 inch end mill in position 1 and the 0.03 inch engrave tool in position 4, which matches my machine configuration. With that set, I'm ready to generate the output file by clicking to File. I can give the file a descriptive name, or whatever name convention you want to follow, and then click Save. A good practice to get into when getting started on Enroute is previewing the output files in Backplot, which can be done from the Enroute toolbar. I'll open the output file I just created. Now I can preview the machine instructions before I send them to be cut. And immediately I can already tell that this is the design I want and nothing is out of place. And if I switch the view mode to step mode, I can now step through the instructions. This is a good way to understand how the machine is interpreting the design and to make sure the ordering is what you expect. Once I'm confident in the output, I'm ready to cut this design out. That's everything you need to complete your first project in Unroute.